Tax season is here, and there are some important changes to be mindful of. So joining us virtually this morning is financial professional Brad Allen from Drake & Associates with more on what we need to know before we file. Morning to you, Brad.
Good morning. How are you?
Doing well, thanks. Thanks for joining us. Okay, so let's talk about taxes. 'Tis the season. What are some of the major changes that we need to know about before we file?
Yeah, everybody's favorite time of year, right? And taxes they're here. And I always say, tax planning should be a year-round kind of thing. The further ahead that you can plan for this year's taxes, next year's taxes. And I work quite a bit in retirement, and I'll tell you what, a lot of retirees find themselves in a very high tax bracket later on in life when they never thought they'd be there. So, planning for today, tomorrow, and in the future is really important. But looking at this year, we want to focus on, first the child tax credit. The American Rescue Plan expanded the tax credit from $2,000 last year to a range of $3,000 to $3,600 this year. And that's depending on the child's age for low to mid-income households. One thing that was different this year is you may have received payments throughout the year this year for the tax credit. And if you did that, you have to make sure you cannot file for the credit at tax time then, because you received it throughout the year. The government was paying it out throughout the year, so families didn't have to wait for that. So just make sure that if you have been receiving that throughout the year, that you're not filing for that. The IRS is sending out a letter that will let you know, what that looks like for you and your family. Here's the deal, too. If you have made more money in 2021 than you have in the past, you might not receive as much as far as the child tax credit. And if you've received it throughout the year, you may have to pay some of that money back. So IRS, again, is sending out a letter. It'll explain that for you, but you just want to plan ahead of time. If you do owe money for whatever reason, you want to make sure you don't wait till the last minute to have to pay that back, right? So just kind of plan out for that.
Okay, gotcha.
The second one is going to be the standard deduction has gone up a little bit. In the past, a lot of folks have itemized, and they've kept all their receipts throughout the year and all these different things because they could itemize more than what the standard deduction was. That changed a couple of years ago. So the standard deduction increased, and from last year to this year went from, for married couples, $24,800 to $25,100 this year for married couples. And if you're a single tax filer, went from $12,400 to $12,550. So if you do work with a CPA, or if you have an accountant or a financial advisor, just sit down and ask them, should I itemize this year? Do I have enough to itemize, or should I just take the standard deduction? What is going to be the best for me and my family?
Gotcha. Let's talk about working from home. A lot of people have done that for the past, couple of years now. So can we write off any of those expenses like utilities, maybe office supplies when they're filing their taxes?
You may be able to. There are some tax deductions for at-home workers, but there are some limitations there. So it only applies to self-employed workers who use their home office space only for work, for nothing else other than work, no personal use at all. And I would say, too, if you do work remotely and maybe you have an office or your business is in another state, you want to make sure you sit down with your CPA or tax professional, because you may have to pay tax withholding for non-residential income if you're working or telecommuting to a different state than the one you live in. So, my best recommendation, if that is something that you're doing, is get a CPA, get an accountant, get somebody that knows that tax code for each state to make sure that you're not missing anything there.
Always helpful information. We could talk about this for days. There's so many changes going on with tax season. But Brad, thank you so much for joining us this morning. We'll be sure to put all that information on our website, cbs58.com. Have a great day.
Thank you. You too.